Reddit, what's your never again story? Back in the days before soft contact lenses, you were supposed to clean them with hydrogen peroxide and then use a special neutralizer tablet afterwards. I forgot to use the neutralizer before I put my contacts in. Hydrogen peroxide in your eye hurts. I did this. I seriously thought I was going to go blind. But you know what's worse? My kidneys, we were really young at the time, thought it would be funny to put pepper in my contacts. I seriously don't know how I didn't go blind. I no longer wear contacts. I had taken my contacts out and had them in one of those containers, but didn't tighten the caps because I'm an idiot. Girlfriend knocks them over and tries to cover it up by putting them back. But as I was staying over, and I'm an idiot, I hadn't brought over solution. Being a helpful non-contact lens person, she didn't have any contact lens solution, but did have saline nasal spray. Saline is saline, right? So the next morning I put in my contacts, and my eyes were on fire. Contact lens solution has a little bit of salt in it. Saline nasal spray is basically salt water. Took forever to get them out, and I had to flush my eyes for several minutes. My girlfriend took a while to tell me what happened. Timeshare presentation. I now know what heck is like. 8 hours of my life that I'll never get back. And of course the free trip was impossible to get. We will call you on Monday sometime in the next 2 months. Then you need to fly out on Tuesday and come back Wednesday. Went to a timeshare presentation in Mexico. The guy hit us up leaving the airport. As this was not our first time, we entered the room with the lady who was pitching and told her in all honesty, we will listen to your pitch, but we are not buying anything. We are only here for the free stuff. She was fuming. She told us we were wasting people's time, gave us the vouchers, and told us to leave. But not before I chewed her out about blindsiding people who had just gotten off a plane and were looking forward to a vacation. Totally worth it, and didn't even have to listen to the hour-long pitch. My dad had a retired friend who would go to these just for the freebies. When the presentation started, he would pull out his hearing aids and set them on the table in front of him. Some salesmen would still go through the whole presentation, but others would just give up after a few minutes. Time to tell the timeshare story of my brother-in-law Steve. He went to one of those presentations with his wife and a female friend of his who tagged along. The goal was to get a free barbecue grill, which turned out to be a tiny piece of trash. Big surprise, that literally melted and burned up on its first use. But the good part was, when they had to sit down with a salesman at the end of the presentation to get the grill. Steve is a big towering guy and his wife and the friend are petite. Wife was kind of bored, so she slunk back in her chair while the friend leaned in to listen. Then the friend got bored, and the wife leaned in. This went back and forth for a few minutes, confusing the heck out of the sales dude trying to figure out who to aim his pitch at. Finally the guy said, "I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out which two of you are the couple here." Wife and friend looked at each other and giggled, and the wife coyly said, "Oh come on, you've heard of time sharing, haven't you?" The friend took the cue and they both started leaning up against Steve and putting their hands all over him. Sales guy, who was apparently very straight-laced, got extremely uncomfortable and quickly wrapped up his pitch and gave them the piece of trash grill. I worked as a tower hand for a construction company. I used to take off my land yard and move between booms, 500 to 600 feet up. I would also slide down the outside legs and tethered, because it was faster than climbing down the ladder. I cringe when I think about the fact that, if I had fallen, there was zero chance that I would have survived. So you're the reason everyone has to watch those safety videos. No, that was another guy. A very flat other guy. The guy that didn't get to post about it on Reddit. Always remember, some jerk actually did this. Asking a woman when her baby is due doesn't really need a story. It went as imagined. Apparently you need to be careful congratulating people for weight loss for similar reasons. While I was in the military, I was stationed at a base with this girl, who was a bit hefty, while she and I were there. I left for my next duty station, and after a few months, I ran into her in the hallway of our barracks. Apparently she had been stationed on the same post, but with a different unit, that shared my unit's barracks. I said a friendly hello, and asked her how she was doing. I then commented that she looked great because she had lost a bunch of weight. She told me that she had been pregnant at our previous duty station. Since dependents weren't allowed at this duty station, I was determined to recover from my embarrassment, and I said something along the lines of, "Oh, right on. Is the baby with the father then?" That's when she told me she had actually lost the baby. I muttered an apology and left quickly after that, never to talk to her again. This reminds me of the worst story I have. I once worked at a cutting counter for a fabric shop. This lady, who appeared to be pregnant, was buying a bunch of really cute baby fabric. I asked when the baby was due. I thought it was a good assumption. Then she told me that the fabric was for the funeral for a baby. And then she started bawling at the cutting counter. And then I started crying. Worst thing ever. The resort I stayed at in the Dominican Republic had a swim-up bar in the pool. The cocktail of the day was a piña colada. Being of newly legal drinking age and not yet having a taste for hard alcohol, thus resorting to getting tipsy off of only coolers and cocktails, and at an all-inclusive resort, I went hard on piña coladas, one after the other, in rapid succession. What I didn't know was that, when you drink while swimming, being weightless in the water means that you don't realize you're drunk until you're really freaking drunk. I ended up getting a lot more intoxicated than I had anticipated, possibly the most I've ever been in my life. I don't remember anything between being dragged out of the pool by my parents and sitting in the corner of our hotel room, crying. Thus began many hours of tears, double vision, vomiting into the toilet, and fading in and out of consciousness on the bathroom floor. I couldn't smell alcohol for 3 days without physically feeling sick to my stomach. I still drink, but because of that memory, piña coladas have been forever ruined for me. Dang, I made this mistake while in a hot tub. Next morning, I could only move by crawling on the floor. Barely made it to the bathroom in time to puke for the next few hours. Oh yeah, getting messed up in a hot tub will get you real drunk real fast. You're sweating out all your fluids in the tub without really realizing it, so your body just thinks, well, I need more fluids pronto, and absorbs the alcohol quick. Next thing you know, you're alfing out the side of the hot tub, thinking about how comfy the kitchen floor would be right now. Elementary school age. During the 80s, my great uncle gave my dad a jug of homemade wine. He put it right next to the apple juice. I got lit up, despite insisting that this apple juice tasted weird. Went off to school. I'm never drinking wine again. I had a similar situation, but mine was with rum. My mother would put red packets of Kool-Aid flavoring, or whatever those things are called, into a gallon of water. It would turn the water into Kool-Aid, or rather, that's what it was for. She would keep the gallon of Kool-Aid next to an empty gallon which she filled with rum. One time, I poured it into a cup and took a gulp of the Kool-Aid, which was followed by "Ooh mom, this tastes like medicine." It wasn't pleasant. My mom used to make huge pitchers of iced tea, which she'd mix liquor into. I'm still not entirely certain what kind of alcohol she used, but I didn't realize the pitcher was spiked, and I helped myself to a few large glasses on a hot summer day. A few hours later, after I finished off the pitcher, my mom found me napping on the couch. She shook me awake and asked me how many glasses I had drank. She wasn't even mad. She actually thought it was pretty funny. I must have been 6 or 7 years old. Every time I drink iced tea now, I remember the time my mom accidentally got her small child hammered. Haha. I did this with a swig of dark beer when I was 7. In my family, kids used to drink out of adult cups. I saw a mug of what looked like Coke, and I went for it. I remember thinking that it tasted like medicine. I also started verifying what was in my cup for a while. Cave exploring. The serious kind, with lights, helmets, and occasional crawling. Fascinating while you're doing it, but scary as heck in hindsight. Ample opportunities to get seriously injured, or worse, in the last place in the world you'd want to be rescued from. Crawling through a tight hole, where you don't have any opportunity to turn around and crawl back. Imagine your flashlight breaking down as well. Big nope for me. I was in a group of 5, where one light broke, and that was a serious issue for just that person. If somehow you lost all light deep in a cave that is intricate at all, you'd be entombed. There's a complete absence of light in there. Your eyes don't adjust like they do in a dark room. It's total blackness and you'd never find your way out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more videos like this. Don't forget to leave your stories in the comments below.